Welcome to Bright as Rain Crochet. Today we are doing this cute little fairy. This is an adaptation of May the Tooth Fairy from Not Another Yarn. I will go ahead and attach the link to the Etsy pattern so that you guys... I'm going to do it with a extra large baby cotton, and I'm doing a 2.5 millimeter hook. I always like to do a worsted weight when I start something because it's so much easier to crochet with and you're not fighting it so much, so you can experiment a little more. And it's a little bit more forgiving than this cotton is. It gets stuck a lot. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a magic ring with 3 single crochets. This very beginning is kind of tough. Just do the best you can on it because it's tight. So do what you guys can do and move forward. So now we're going to do 3 single crochets, and now we're going to do another 3 single crochets right on top. And like I said, this is not the easiest, so I'm going to struggle here for just a little bit. So typically what I try to do is to do like 2 or 1 or 2 short of the round, so then I can flip it. But this makes this cute little tip at the end of her wing. And sometimes this goes really smoothly for me. Sometimes it does not go smoothly for me. So we're going to see. So I've done 2. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to turn this enough and get this stuck out enough to move forward, but we're going to see if we can. I did find out that if it's terrible and all else fails and you're just really having a heck of a time with it, then just do it inside out, chain 1, and then go the other direction. No one's going to notice that just the very tip of that is not the right direction, is not the right side of your product. Okay, from here we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an increase. So when we get done, we're going to have 6 single crochets. Now, that was the hard part. Hopefully, that was really literally the smoothest it has like ever been for me. So let me see if I can focus a little bit here more. Not at this point, you guys are looking at how to single crochet or anything, but... And so through this video, I am not going to go through every single step. At this point, if you're doing this project, you know how to make a ball. You just need to know, where am I stopping at and that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do an increase here. So that when we're done, we're going to have 6 single crochets. And I already don't have 6. So I am going to, see, what do I have left? I have 2 left, so I'm not going to increase. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just pull over here. Or I can pull this out and fight it. It's up to you where you're at, what you want to do. And I may end up getting a little further and realizing I didn't like that because my tip was not... as tight as I wanted it to be. But I keep fighting this little tip, and it's such a small part of the project. And really, depending on how you do your hair, you barely see it. It's not the main focal point of the project. The wings are not. So don't spend so much time stressing over it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do single crochet increase. Everything's jumping by 3 because we started with 3. Then we're going to go all the way up to 6 single crochet increases, landing on 24 stitches. So 1 single crochet increase, next round 2, increase 3, increase 4, increase 5, increase 6, increase. Again, you guys all know this. If you guys don't know this, this may be too much of a project for you guys right now. It's just too much to do. It would take forever if I'm showing you guys everything. So I'm going to go ahead and meet you guys back here once you guys have finished all the way up to 6 single crochet increases. Right now we're starting on 1 single crochet increase. And I will see you guys once you guys have finished all the way up to the 6 single crochet increase. Okay, we've finished all the way up to our 6 single crochet increase. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 4 rows or 4 rounds of these 24 stitches. Now, something to be aware of with amigurumi, what happens is we start in a place that's really tight, so we're crocheting really tight. And as we get further down the project where we have more space, we start crocheting, our tension gets looser. So it's just something to be aware of. Not always is it going to affect your product, but it's definitely going to look sharper if you try to keep the same tension through your project. Correct? Correct. And something else too, while we're making these rounds, is whatever the pattern picture looks like, or my picture looks like, your amigurumi is not going to be, it shouldn't be. You don't want it to be exactly the same. You want to express your talents and your thoughts on that project. That's why it's a pattern, and it's your adaptation of the pattern. And I know for a fact that this new little tooth fairy is not going to look the same as my other tooth fairy. One, because the hair just for some reason never works out the same for me. So we're going to go ahead and do our 4 rounds of that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look like this at the end. So then what we're going to do is our 4 rounds of 24, then start with 6 single crochets and decrease. And we're going to go all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and just jump back in one time real quick on the, once we start reducing. And then I'm kind of going to let you guys get all the way to the end of this project. So here we are, we're going to go ahead and reduce. So we'll do 6 single crochet invisible decrease. And this is something else you want to be aware of on your tension, because we do have a tendency when we do that invisible decrease that that we kind of loosen up a little bit. So go ahead and get in here and then pull it through, and then I just have this, like, I pull away, I pull away like that to tighten it up. And it's actually just become habit when I do amigurumi to just keep tightening like this every time, so that I got some nice, clean, consistent stitches. And it's kind of hard to even show it. You can't really even show it. You just got to start doing it. Pull it through, tighten it up. Okay, so now we'll go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down to 1 single crochet decrease. As you can see, we're going to end up folding this thing in half like this. If you guys are using a smaller hook, once you get back down in here, this is going to get really tough on you. I kind of fought it on this one. So once we get down to 1 single crochet decrease, we'll have 6 single crochets left, and then we're just going to fold it in half. But I want to make sure that when you fold it in half, that you're folding it in half so that your wing has a little oomph like this, if you can, so they look a little more consistent. What's really nice is you can do your first one, and then when you guys come back to do your second one, you'll fold it in half so that they look symmetrical when they're going to be on the back of your fairy. So I'm going to see you guys all the way at the end where we're working our folding it in half and working our 3 single crochets. Okay, so I finished my last rounds. I've got 6 stitches left. We're going to fold this in half, and we're just going to find where we want this to sit. And you know, ironically enough, kind of hard to see, but this one is the one that I didn't do perfect. Remember in the beginning, I'm like, whoops, I just won't do an increase right there. And that one actually looks better than the one that I did it in, which is kind of crazy weird. But anyway, so it usually doesn't say this in patterns, but I do it all the time. If this is where I want this to lay, like this, go ahead and single crochet over, or I wouldn't pull any out because you're reducing, so let's go ahead and just bring it over here. I always like to chain 1 and then turn my work and then go through, these stitches, and this is how we're going to go ahead and make bring this down to 3 now that this is folded in half. And there we go. Okay, and since I had done this previously, it is completely up to you guys if you want to or not. But I really liked. So let's see, curve up, curve up. What I did was I went ahead and just took one of these tails, and I went ahead and sewed these together like this. It's just easier to attach when they're together. And then, you know, they're a little bit straighter. And then with amigurumi, if I'm doing something that isn't necessarily as a toy for a kid, and even sometimes if it's a toy for a kid, I glue a lot of my stuff on instead of sewing it on. It gets crooked on me. It's not forgiving. When I use my glue, and I typically use this 3-in-1, I love it so much. It dries really fast. Well, it's not super glue fast by no means, but you can put something on, you can still move it, and then I can pin it. And then in like 15-20 minutes, I can come back and pull the pins, and it is secure enough to not have the pins in it. And then you can let it sit. So we're going to go ahead and if you guys want, go ahead and sew these. Try to sew them a little bit so they're up a little further. There'll be some play in there that we can play with them once we get to that. And then what we're going to be doing is moving on to our head, which is a really easy, right? It's a ball, so we're all pretty good at doing that. So I'll see you guys back here. All right, kids, we are back. We are now working on our head. And I'm using this like mocha brown. We're going to start with the head. We're going to start with the magic ring. We're all excited to have 6 single crochets in the magic ring. Most amigurumi is done with 6 or 5. It's just odd to have to be messing with that 3. It just doesn't feel right. Your body, your mind subconsciously doesn't really know what you're doing. And then we're going to go ahead and increase. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do make a true circle. We're not going to increase in the exact same spots. Some of you guys may have already have done this, but I'm going to meet you around once you get 12, okay? I'll give you 1 second here. Okay, for some reason it's hard for me to talk and count at the exact same time. So now we're going to do a single crochet increase around. So what a true circle is, what we're going to end up doing is we don't want to increase in the exact same spot. So when it gets to even numbers, what we end up doing on the even numbers is that we split the even numbers in half in the beginning. And once I get around here, I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to use this a lot, and if you do any kind of basket, or you want to make coasters or round placemats, things like that, because with the standard increase that we are all typically used to doing, what it does is it actually makes a hexagon, and you're not going to want that with, for example, a basket or a coaster or something. So this is actually a really great thing to just start doing on a regular basis. Even if the pattern doesn't say it, you can do it. It isn't going to hurt anything at all. So on the even numbers, we're going to split. So now we are at 2 single crochet increase. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 single crochet increase. Maybe, come on fingers, all right. 1 single crochet increase. Now we'll go back to the 2 single crochet increase all the way around. And what's going to happen is we're going to have 1 single crochet at the very end. Then when you get to 3, you're going to do all the odd numbers. You're going to do like standard odd numbers. 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. When you do the even numbers, you're going to split them. So let's say we're on 4, you're going to do 2 single crochet, increase, then 4, increase, 4, increase, 4, increase, and there'll be 2 left. When we get to 5, you'll go all the way around because it's odd. 6, you're going to split. 3, you're just going to split it up in half. It makes a true round circle. So you guys need to get all the way up to 6 rounds, and then you're going to end up having at the end of your 6th round, you're going to have 48 stitches. And then I want you to do 7 rows of 48 stitches. So increase up to 6 single crochet, increase, and then I want you to do 7 rows of the 48 single crochets. I'm going to meet you back here at the end of that. Okay, we are back and beautiful, wonderful. So now we have the 7 rows of 48 single crochets, and we're looking like this. Let's go ahead and do 1 round of 7 single crochet, increase. All right, I'm on my last one here. I don't count until I get to the very end. I always hated it when people counted out loud, and I'm either crocheting faster or slower than I'm trying to think while they're counting out loud, and I'm hearing one thing and doing another thing. So, okay, so we did that. Now we're on our last increase. So this is where we're going to make our eye holes. And if you guys can do this with any pattern, it is so wonderfully ideal. If you are using eyes that have the back on them, some instances may not be ideal if you have to use really little eyes because they will pop through the holes. But we're going to go ahead and create the eye holes so that when we put our eye in, then we're not stretching the yarn or anything like that. We always know exactly where it's going to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We should be at 54 stitches. Let's do an entire round of just 54 stitches around. And what's really nice is that when you guys are doing an increase or a decrease, if that increase or decrease works out perfectly, then you know that you have the right stitch count. And you're not having to count, like, for example, I don't have to count for this round because I know that I ended on the 7 single crochet increase. If you're off by something, just go back and count it. And at that end, make your adjustment. You can either decrease or you can increase just to get your count right. Don't pull it out if you don't have to pull it out. Of course, you cannot keep making a mistake absolutely every single round and increase in every single round. But the whole reason for an increase is the base for the next round. So if your base for your next round is correct, then you're going to be all right. You also don't want, of course, 2 increases or decreases by themselves, right next to each other. And you don't, this is just future, why we're crocheting here. Whenever you have to make stuff up, you don't want those things to be right next to each other, an increase or a decrease. It can make a little poopy, sticky thingy out, or it can suck in, and you don't want that on your material either. But I've just learned after years of crocheting that I was pulling stuff out. I was frogging for so many times, and it tears up your yarn so bad, and it wastes so much energy when I could have just fixed it because I was literally 1 stitch off. And usually it's because, for example, you did 6 single crochet increase instead of 7 single crochet increase. So by you doing that other 1 more single crochet, you're fine. You've just made up the count, and your increases are separated enough that it isn't going to affect your piece of work. Okay, here we are back to our beginning, and we'll go ahead and move our stitch marker up. And now what we're going to do is we are going to single crochet 21. on 20, 21. Okay, let's chain one, let's skip one, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet 10. Chain one, skip one, and now we should have 21 single crochets around, back to the beginning. We have the same number, 21. And then after this 21, we want to go ahead and do 2 more rows of just single crochets. When you get around, make sure you may want to count this first one around to make sure that you do not want to skip that chain space or that stitch that likes to hide right after that chain space. And you can go ahead and just single crochet right into the chain, but don't forget that one that always likes to hide behind you. We're going to do 2 of those rows. I'm going to go ahead and get you at least over here to the chain space so that we can just make sure that we're all on the same page. And you guys see what I know you guys know what I'm talking about, but again, like I said, I try to understand that people are growing and they haven't heard all of these things. So if it comes in my mind, I just say it. Hopefully it's not too basic for anybody. Hopefully it reminds you guys of things. I don't know, whatever it is. I hope that it's at least helping somebody out there. So we should have, of course, the 21. I'm not counting because I know I've got this here. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to see it. It's coming up. It's coming up. Okay, so we always know that here's our post here. So the stitch behind it that we're going into is actually that stitch. It's always behind it when we're crocheting in the round. So this stitch right there is actually our chain space. So we're going to make sure we hit our chain space. And then this one hiding. A needle would be much better for this, Rain. All right. That's what I had handy. Don't forget this one after you do the chain space, because this stitch here is this stitch. Unless you are going in a straight line, chaining one and turning your work, your stitches are always going to be right behind your posts. Like I said, unless like you're doing a blanket and you're chaining one, turning, then it's going to be in front because of course you're on the opposite side. So there we go. We didn't forget. So that's why you might want to count this one going around or double check on your next go around to make sure that you didn't accidentally skip anything. So I'm going to leave you guys here to finish off 2 rounds of just the single crochets around, and we still have 54 stitches. Nothing is grown. And I will meet you guys at the end of that. Good luck. Okay, we are back. And you finished those 2 rounds. Now what we're going to do, we have enough girth here to go ahead and get our eyes put in. So we need to find where our eyes are. They're here somewhere. Here we are. And go ahead and figure out what eyes you guys want to have in there. The thing is that every pattern is going to ask for, a different size eyes. If you're using the exact yarn and the exact needle, like you bought the yarn, you know what it is, and that's what you're going to use, then you know what to use. But you can always go bigger or go smaller if you want to do that. So for example, the pattern is saying 11 millimeter eyes, but they're using a 3 millimeter hook. I like bigger eyes. on most of my things. So I'm going to kind of just put in, I'm going to start with some 12s here and see, my posts are really big. That's also another reason I really like this, but see how nicely that just goes in there, and I don't have to, I'm not stretching the yarn. And again, now I can go with as big and juicy eyes as I want them to be, and I'm not worried about it not fitting in my yarn because I created a hole. But as you can see, if you're talking, let's say we're doing this and we're going to be putting on 6mm eyes, it's going to suck right through there, and it doesn't work. The chain, it doesn't matter. It's just not going to happen. And if you just get these in right away and you test them, then you go, oh no, and you can pull out just 2 rows. I have found that no 6mm eyes, none, actually will work with this chain 1 space. They'll just come in. It's not going to make a difference. And again, always double check. I tell you how many times I've done this and just been in a rush, not paid attention, and found one eye was bigger than the other eye. That is so sad. But you can always use like wire cutters like this, and you can get under here and you can snap that off and get another eye in there. The problem is you can't get it back on it. So you have to just glue it in. And then of course, if your project is for a little kid, you're not going to feel very safe giving them that gift. Maybe an older kid that's not going to swallow the eye. But when it's just glued, it's a little scary. So I'm going to pop these on. I always have to use my teeth. To get them down all the way. And then if you haven't seen this, very, very cool. Do not burn your project. Do not burn yourself. But we can go ahead and melt these down. And they might catch on fire, then just blow it out. Watch all your hard work. Just give it a couple seconds here. And it'll pop right off. It does not smell good. But now this safety eye is not coming off. I mean, that kid better gnaw on this like a son of a gun. This is good to do even if it's not for a kid, because there's been times that I've literally bought whole sets of eyes and backs, and the back won't stay on, and my eye pops off. I think it's on. I do my whole project, and then my granddaughter's playing with it, and the eye just pops off. Literally ridiculous. Nothing more frustrating, especially when you've already... sorry, moving all my stuff here. Especially if you did the chain space, because it's really hard to glue that in when you have such a big hole. Okay, so we did this. So now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and decrease. We're going to go around. Now we got our eyes in. We're good to go for a while. We're going to go around and let's do the decrease. Let's decrease 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Okay, so we're going to go from 7 to 2. Do your decreases the same way that you did your increases. Stagger them. So here we are. Start with 7 single crochet decrease. I will meet you guys when you have finished all the way down to 2 single crochet decrease. Okay, I'm not all the way there yet. I'm at 4 single crochet decreases. I just finished that round, and you always want to stuff when you can. I like to pull my stuff apart like this. It helps it be a lot more malleable once it's in there. And then from lessons learned of oval heads, I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. So I put my fingers in and I tuck up. This lip here is what we end up forgetting or not getting enough stuffing in. And so I always try to pull like this and then then once I know it's tight, I'll go to the center. Wish somebody would have taught me that years ago. You'll be amazed at how much you're going to fit in here when you do it like this also. And then as you crochet, it's going to close up like that, which will be fine. Then you can put more in the little hole. But you know that out here is really good and sturdy. So a couple more rounds, guys, and we'll see you there. Hopefully you guys have done some stuffing as well. See you in just a minute. Well, before we get too far, too, we want to make sure that when we're doing a decrease and we have it padded, you really want to keep this tight. In fact, when you go to do your invisible decrease, you want to almost have this to be completely together. Do not stretch that. Once you get really good at this, what this allows you to do is go backwards as well, where the top of the head will be the reducing part, which is not usually typical because we don't do it as well. So practice while you can to get your reducing, your decrease rounds looking, see how I kind of pulled it tight, looking as good as your increasing rounds. It's a little bit harder to do, but if you start practicing it now, then when you do some other projects, you can actually just, I do it a lot. I hate to sew things together. They are not my friends. I do not like it. So if I can crochet it in one piece, I will do it in one piece, which in a lot of instances means that I will start with the legs and then I have to move all the way up and the top of the head is a decrease and it doesn't look as good. So make sure you guys are focusing on that and keeping that in mind for future projects. Not necessarily this one, but for future. So I am almost done with my 3 single crochet decrease. And then I have, of course, 2 single crochet decrease. And I'm going to split that up. And I'll see you guys in just one sec. Okay, wonderful, guys. We're looking so nice. Everything's looking really good. All right, so now we have one more round of decreases. But this time we're going to do 4 single crochet decrease. And we're going to get down to 15 single crochets. Make sure you're at 15 single crochets, okay? So let's go ahead and do that together here. Pull this stuff tight. Pull it together. You don't have to split this one. It's definitely not going to land on what we've just been doing, so... And I apologize if my stuff is flapping everywhere. You guys are already talented enough that you don't need to see my stitches. But I literally crochet probably 8 to 9 hours every single day. And so what I've learned to do is to try to split my work up between my right and my left hand. So what I do is I try to evenly use them both. And then sometimes when I get tired, I'll do more crocheting with this hand, then this one gets tired and I'll move this one more. So I do apologize, but I do this all day long. This is literally my living. So okay, we're at 4 and then our decrease. All right. So let's go ahead and make sure this is all tightened up. We feel good. Don't overstuff this yet. And we're going to discuss the neck here in a minute, okay? Because we've got, look at all this we've still got too. Can you see this bounce that has nothing in it? You can literally see we've got a lot of stuffing to get up in there. All right, so let's talk about our necks for a little bit. How many of you guys have ever done an entire project and then by the time you get the hair on, your head cannot stay up straight? These are really neat. I actually got these. I got some furniture covers, some couch covers for my furniture out in the garage. And this is what you tuck in the sides to hold it down. That never works, by the way. It just pops out and then they're laying on the couch. It's ridiculous. But they're amazing for your necks. They're so easy to cut. They're firm enough that this is nothing. It's not going to fall over. I love it. And then what you can do is you can see I've this one for that last gal I did, this I had to cut this much down off of it. So in this case, this one's smaller because I went to a smaller hook. I'm going to have to cut this one again. I have a little piece here. This now is not very strong, is it? This is like not going to work. But it would be really great if I just wanted to put it maybe in an arm or something. This was a leftover piece. Never throw anything away. You just never know when you can use it. But this one I can probably use my scissors, and don't use your yarn scissors. Have little cute ones. Buy special ones for yourself that just cut yarn, and then just have some everyday. But what I can do is probably just cut this in half, and I can use this as a neck support. Now, hey, anybody out there, I'm just saying, if anybody out there knows where I can get this stuff and what it's actually called, I would love to get it in like 3 different sizes and rolls. It would be just completely amazing. So something else you can do is we have 15 stitches left. And what you do is you keep looking at your pattern saying, okay, where are we going to go from the body? We're going to go to 15, and then we're going to grow to 18. We have about 2 rounds of 15, but we want it tight on the 15. Then we'll start growing around it, and then we can stuff around it because our body is going to grow this direction. You can also make a leg. And what you do is you would make a magic circle, get 15 in here, whatever, nobody's looking at it, stuff it really good at maybe 14, and then you shove that in there like this, and that will firm that up to where you don't have a droopy neck. The problem I have found with that is that you really do not know, because you're working a pattern, you don't really know how long that leg or foot or neck support or whatever you want to call it should be. In this case, I can shove this in here like this. I'm going to shove it down as far as I can. I still can get in here and stuff. And then when I don't think I need this anymore, I'll just cut it where I need it, where I think I need that support. That's what's really nice about this foam instead of crocheting a leg, because you don't really know how far that leg needs to go. No matter what, stuff, that is a problem with some of the patterns. If you decide to go, oh, bigger is better, I'm going to take this pattern and I'm going to make it a 4-ply, and I'm just going to make a really big. I did this with Elsa for my granddaughter, and I am telling you what, by the time I got done with her hair, her neck wouldn't stay up. I don't care if I had a stick in it. There was so much hair on her head. So sometimes too big is too big, and you're just not going to be able to support the weight of the hair. So that is something to think about when you're looking at your projects and wanting to upsize, because the thing is, it takes the exact same amount of time to do 30 stitches in a, I don't know, geez, even in a lace, in a 0 or in a 10 than it does to do it in a big 4-ply that's cheap and easy to work, and you can see it better. But what may end up happening is that your project, thank God it was my granddaughter's, your project may not work out because there's too much weight. You've just got way too much weight. Okay, so I'm going to just continue stuffing here like this, and I'm using this. I'm going to keep moving it around till I get it like how I want it. And this is also nice because you can sew through it. You can put your needle through it. It isn't a big deal. So I'm going to keep firming this up, and then we're going to do 2 rounds of 15 single crochets, and now we get to move on to our body. So let's go ahead and do that. You guys get what you need to get. Keep stuffing firm. Make sure we don't want a droopy jaw down here. So remember to get up in this lip here. All right, we're looking good, nice and firm. See that? Oh, that took years to get there before I could do that. And now we've got something real nice and firm that we're going to be able to crochet around here. I did my 2 rounds. Now we're going to start our body. Now the pattern does right at this point says you can go ahead and do your nose and your eyes and your blush. And I have these fake eyelashes that glue on. They're so cute. They're wonderful, especially if it's not going to a baby. I love them. They're so cute. But I would wait till the end. It's hard to do because we want to keep looking down and seeing our beautiful little girl that we're creating. But what we're going to find is as we crochet our body down, this thing is going to get like da 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 da. And actually, half my eyelash came off. Part of the white in my eyes started getting boogered up. Just wait so that you don't ruin something that looks so nice you've worked so hard for. I also used to like to do it because I could get really close to do the white part of my eyes that go here. Because of this back, it's really hard to get in there because our back is bigger than our eyeball is. So what I did to overcome that was I just used an actual like sewing needle, a sharp needle, so I could get in here real tight and it still was hugging the eye. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave that for right now so that I don't mess it up and I'm not sad about it down the road. This is another reason why I do a test run before I do the video, so that you guys can learn all of the do's and don'ts. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to do 4 single crochet increase and get us up to 18. And here in just a minute, we're going to be changing to our dress color. So this is not much of this is going to be left. So we're going to do 4 single crochet increase. And then let's do 2 single crochet increase. You can split that up if you want. You do not have to. Well, no, split it up because it's going to land right on it. We don't want to see that. Increases we can see. Decreases we cannot see. And it just makes it look cleaner if you can split that up. So 4 single crochet increase, 2 single crochet increase, and then get your dress color ready that you're going to do. And I will meet you guys back here so that I'm not fumbling